Yes, the idea of generative AI and the accessibility of the power of generative AI and how it's been accepted and used has been dramatic and exciting, right? We all know how to use it now, and so the expectation as consumers and businesses we expect to be served that way. And so from that standpoint, we've been very focused on how we're using our capabilities through the Microsoft Cloud services that we offer around compute and data and AI and modern work and business applications. All are infused with AI so that our customers and the software providers that build first-party solutions for the industry can use that and leverage that capability. And so what it's generating is a whole bunch of ways to think about how AI can actually think about empowering employees differently across the front, middle, and back office with assistance and with the ability to have data and insights at the palm of their hand. Thinking about reshaping and reimagining the customer experience in all channels, whether it's on mobile or on the interface, or even through individuals that now have assistants that have information that know you better and can provide tailored information and experiences for you. Thinking about reshaping business processes. If you're not thinking about how AI is going to help you reshape and rethink business processes and how you deliver value as a company, you're going to miss the opportunity to use this technology in ways that are going to help you to compete. And the last area that we talk about is bending the innovation curve. So how are you going to figure out ways to actually operate more efficiently and create value at a faster pace so that you can reinvest in the technology to move faster and quicker. And we've set up our capabilities and our platforms to help our customers do that. Well, it's really exciting with regards to thinking about how services can be brought in a tailored way to an individual or a business or customer, right? That's what you're going to have to deliver because that's what's going to be expected in the marketplace. And so this idea of an assistant helping a relationship banker or a customer service provider answer questions quickly, have immediate access to knowledge about you as a customer or business to solve your problem or your question on the phone or through the internet channel so that you can move on and actually get to actually talking about how you can actually be served differently or with different products. That's what's happening today. Using the technology to think about how you manage fundamental business processes differently, right? So people are thinking about how to manage the credit process differently, take steps out of that, right, using generative AI and machine learning, how to actually combat fraud and AML and things in the nature around how you're going to protect your institution better using AI. But what's going to be really interesting is this idea around how the institutions can actually provide you with assistance and coaching so that you know how to use the products better as an individual or as a business, right? I can interact with an agent that actually knows my business, knows my challenges, knows what I need to operate better, and actually give me advice in a proactive way. Those are the things that are going to be exciting around how AI is going to change fundamentally how financial services are actually more inclusive and democratized throughout the world. The first step is really thinking about organizationally and culturally how you're going to think about using this technology and how you want to communicate it to your teams and your staff, and actually getting them to be curious about the technology and viewing it as something that's going to help them in their roles. Because the acceptance and the change management around using the technology is first and foremost going to allow you to accelerate and use it even beyond what the technology is doing itself. So the institutions that I think are making the most progress are starting with, hey, how do we organize ourselves, right, in a way that we can understand how to use it across our compliance, security, risk structures, right, and how we're going to manage the technology in a safe and secure way, right? We're in a regulated industry, and therefore we've got to do things with transparency and do it in a way that we can show we're protecting the use of the technology and protecting how it's used for our customers. So getting your organizational culture and your organizational operating model is my first suggestion right around how to move fast and quickly. And then secondarily, then there's thousands of use cases around how people are thinking about this, but pick use cases that you think fundamentally you want to go deep on that are really going to have a transformative effect around how this technology can be used and a proof point for how the organization can then say, that's really cool. So customer service is a space where there's a lot of focus on how I can actually have much more adaptive servicing, much more servicing associated with knowing the customer's background and what their challenges are so that you can actually serve them quickly on the call and then actually provide them with additional value beyond the call. So Wells Fargo has created a assistant for their branch sales service managers to actually engage with customers and actually give information in a much quicker way. And they're finding out they can take tasks that used to take 10 minutes and now it takes 30 seconds. In the development community, right, the programming community, using Copilots and GitHub Copilot to actually create code faster and be able to test it more quickly. Organizations like Citigroup, 40,000 developers using Copilot to help them actually get efficiencies around how they code. So finding large areas and proof points, right, around how the technology can work and then showing the return on that, that's going to allow you to create momentum and then continue to roll it out in other areas of your business. So productivity is top of mind around how this technology is being used, and the idea around how if I have a co-pilot and assistant that's helping me through my day-to-day tasks and helping me go through my emails, go through the materials that I have, being able to summarize things, be able to prioritize the work that I do. We've started very much down the productivity path with our M365 Copilot. And many users are learning about what a Copilot assistant can mean in the work environment and how you can start to use that to create productivity around it. Organizations like UBS that have rolled out Copilot to 50,000 employees across their organization actually start to learn how to immerse themselves in the technology and start seeing where the productivity gains are. So the idea of employee productivity is one area to think about focusing on. I think another area is, to my comment earlier about rethinking and reimagining what that customer experience is. So imagine if a customer now shows up and the chatbot, you can actually interact with it in a natural language way and ask it questions in your language, in your vernacular, and it can actually understand that and then has the data behind it knowing you to actually help solve your problem. And so the idea of revamping kind of the old chatbots that I don't think a lot of folks thought were super useful, but actually making them useful is another area where organizations are really starting to use the generative AI in a way that helps the servicing organization, but also serves customers in different ways. So finding ideas around how you can do that in a secure, safe way, and that's what institutions are doing now. There's a lot of internal learning around how to use this technology before you start seeing it rolled out, I think, more externally, is where institutions are really focusing. Sure. Our whole approach to thinking about how we serve the financial services industry, which is we define as banking, capital markets, and insurance, at the forefront is how we take our Microsoft Cloud for financial services and build it in a way that's robust, has security, compliance, and control structures that are needed to make it fit for purpose to serve the industry. And so that's where we spend a lot of time first with our cloud approach, thinking about our compute, our modern work platform with M365, our Biz Apps platform with Dynamics 365, how we build data and AI services into that cloud stack, and then how that can actually be used to create applications to serve the industry. That's where we start first with our Microsoft Cloud. Then we work very closely with our software partners that are building the best-in-class first-party software applications for the industry across banking, capital markets, and insurance, whether they're mature organizations or startup organizations. We have our partner group that works with them to make sure that they are building their applications and using all of our cloud capabilities in a way that gives them the most value for what they can create in the marketplace. And then we take our industry team, which is a group that I lead globally, which are individuals like myself from industry. So we bring our experience working in the business or the technology side, and we use that industry experience along with our Microsoft Cloud technologies and our partners. And then we go work with our commercial sales organizations and we work with customers. So we bring the idea of understanding their business, understanding technology, understanding use cases to allow them to use our solutions that actually allow them to enable their strategies going forward. And that's where they get focus. And so the assurance around how we bring ideas and capabilities and knowledge to help them structure what I was talking about earlier, right around how do they organize themselves for efficiency, how do they actually learn about the technology, how they think about bringing AI into their organizations, how they use our development technology stacks to start thinking about how they build AI into their products and services, how do they leverage third parties that they want to use in their technology stack using our technology as a base. We help them bring all of those capabilities together to think about, in partnership, how they can grow their businesses and use the technology. And you're starting to see that, whether it's around, as I mentioned before, solutions for employees, for productivity gains, solutions for customers to actually have their services and their capabilities tailored to them, to create product and friction, take product and friction out of their product processes and their business processes end to end. All capabilities that you're going to see some amazing things, I think, come out in the marketplace over the next few months. I think banks in the UAE have a history of being forward-thinking as part of this, the UAE region, and the ability to think about innovation and creating a hub of innovation. And I think the financial institutions here have taken advantage of that push and that forward thinking to actually position themselves, I think, quite nicely to take advantage of this. So I think this is a region where financial institutions actually moved into the cloud, I think at a little bit faster pace than some of the other regions in the world, taking advantage of the technology and the ability to modernize their applications. As they've done that, they were able to now take advantage of this next wave of generative AI, because you're not going to be able to have a strong generative AI enterprise strategy if you're not in the cloud and if you're not getting your data ready to have analytics on top of it. And so I think banks here have had a good head start thinking about that. They're starting to engage in that. They've positioned themselves now with generative AI capabilities, and they're focusing in on those use cases that they think are going to be dramatic, whether it's around impacting how their services are delivered from a customer point of view, driving employee productivity so that they can serve customers differently. But more importantly, I think there's a big push here to actually think about how to use this technology to just reshape how institutions operate. We just put out our 2025 Work Trends Report Index. And what's top of mind for customers, I think, as a broad survey that we did, I think is pretty clear here, where out of that survey, 82% of leaders have already said that they plan to use digital labor in the next 10 to 12 months. 46%, I think, or so around that range of the leaders said that they plan on, are already using agents to actually automate processes and workflows. And then 72% of those leaders have said that they're already really focused on bringing in AI talent. So it's not if this technology is going to be used, it's when. And I think this region really reflects those results, probably even at a higher level with regards to the movement that they have.